Hi there and welcome to my video. We're going to be looking at some issues regarding the song Romanza and some of the issues it brings up really. I'm not going to do specifically a video tutorial about how to play every single note and how to go through it. This is aimed at people who've had a go and are probably wondering why some things feel a little bit difficult and they're not quite able to grasp some of the difficult techniques. The most important thing is when I look at this song and give it to my students and see how they progress with it, even with some face-to-face tuition. There's three fundamental things that come out, and this is what I'm going to address in this video, because if you address these three fundamental points, then really you can address any of the song, because you can use these techniques that you'll learn here. They'll help you work on new songs, but also just give you a little thought process of saying, oh yes, this is how I solved the problems in Romance, so I'll be able to solve them in the future. Here we are then. So let's start in the first section, the E minor section. When people are learning a new song, one of the first things that they struggle with, even though sometimes they actually know these kind of things, but the brain gets a bit scrambled, is actually knowing the fret names all the way up to fret 12. So before you start playing this, here's my tip on being able to resolve one of the conflicts that's in your mind as you're trying to play. So just saying the note names, so I'll just go through it once and then you can practice this again in your own time. So we're going to do all the natural note names first. So we're just going to play E, then all the natural note names, no sharps or anything. F, fret 1, G, fret 3, A, fret 5, B, fret 7, C, fret 8, D, fret 10, E, fret 12. And just saying them, for example, going back down again, E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E. Get them in your mind, because if they're not in your mind, then obviously as you're trying to play, read and identify where they are, that's difficult. So give yourself a little chance doing it. The second thing is, as we know, the song is in E minor to start with before it changes to E major. So let's look at just where that F sharp is. Of course you know it, it's F, F sharp next to it. You're also going to need later on in the song, in the second section, we're going to definitely need C sharp. So we find B, C fret 8, C sharp, that's obvious. We know it from C down here, C sharp, so C here, fret 8, C sharp. This is of course just the octaves above that. That takes us to D, fret 10, D sharp has to be fret 11 before we get to fret 12. So become comfortable with those. If you become comfortable with those before you start, you've resolved one of your three problems, which is great. Identification of reading. So if you're beginning to start to play songs where you're coming up the guitar neck above the music stave and you're not comfortable with the note names, again, my students will have received a sheet just outlining very simply actually the three ledger lines that sit above the music stave. So you've got the normal music stave, and then on the first ledger line, sitting a note on its own on that ledger line is A. Most of us are fairly familiar with that by now if we've got to this level. C is 2 lines above, yeah, and E is 3 lines above. So just remember it's ACE, A-C-E, lines 1, 2, 3. Really simple. And then obviously B sits between 1 and 2, and D sits between 2 and 3. Really simple, but if you've got my sheet or you've got your own books that explain this, study it. Get used to it, and also then play those note names looking at it. So you see the A, put a finger 1 on the 5. You see a C, fret 8. See 3 lines, then you play an E. Get used to that. That's going to resolve the second of your problems. So that only leaves us with one more. And it's bar A's, of course. So bar A's really come in about this level, and basically we need to learn how to do them. Now my website has lots of materials on bar A's, so you can use those practice exercises I've done, watching the video techniques of how I form the bar A's, how I get comfortable with them. I'm not going to do that here. But what we're going to do we're going to identify where those bar A's appear and what techniques I've learnt in the past that have always helped me, and I just teach now fundamentally to help us. So we're going to go to, I think it's the 7th bar of the first section, and some music writes this as not a full bar A but as an open A, and so we get this. So we've just got an open A. Now, if you say, well, that's great because that means that I don't have to play a bar A there because I'm not very good at bar A's, then clearly you're going to have problems later on where we need full bar A's across the 6 strings. So now's the time to take the challenge and learn to do it. So we're going to start with that one on bar 7, and I'm going to put a bar A down. Okay, so this is the most fundamental technique I can teach in trying to play notes with bar A's to make it really easy for you. We're not going to use no right hand, so that goes. And then what we're going to do, we're going to just not press down either. So I'm not squeezing the bar A. I've just put my finger on there and it's just sitting there, it's not squeezing. Looking at the music, I know I need to play C, B and A. Okay, so C, I just know I finger 4 at fret 8, a B is finger 3 at fret 7. C, B, A. And now you can see the technique that I'm doing. I'm not playing with my right hand, I'm not squeezing hard, I'm not hurting my hand as I'm learning how to play this little passage. I'm saying the note names C, B, A. And of course, in between that, each one, we've got the 2 extra notes that the right hand would play. So remember this technique, no right hand, no pressure, and just saying the note names and putting your fingers on the correct frets and just pretending you're playing. Assuming you've just done that, you'll be able to then go C, B, A. And then of course it just kind of repeats but going upwards. So we've got A, B, C. Okay. So really what I'm saying is don't try and learn this by playing the song and then saying, oh, I have real problems. I have problems identifying fret names. I have real problems in reading the music, and I have real problems in bar A's. Do them all separately, a little bit at a time, and you'll find that then when you're ready to play, you can do. Okay, don't move on and keep going, making it harder and harder by moving through. So the reason, obviously, as what I said was we did the bar A's in bar 7 and 8 is because we need the full bar A in bar 9. So what we do now, we move to bar 9 and we're going to play a full bar A, which is why I did the full bar A in fret 7 to help us just practice doing bar A's and learning the notes by moving the fingers. So we're going to play 2 B's, low B and high B. That's under the bar A at string 1, so that's nice and easy. And we've identified that we've got to now play a high C on fret 8. And you can see I've put finger 3 there, and I'll explain away in a moment. And then obviously it comes back to B. So we go B, C, B. Finger 2 in this chord has to play fret 8 of string 3, which is D sharp. So D, fret 7, up to D sharp, but we'll put finger 2 there. So now we can see that we've got a little bit of an awkward thing here. So we've got finger 2 down, and we've got to put finger 3 underneath it on string 1. And you might have just seen what I did there. So this is a technique to use. Again, no right hand, we're just learning how to do this. So I'm playing B and then the 2 other strings, I'm pretending I'm doing it. I'm just going to lift my elbow up to twist my fingers into a better comfortable position so that my finger 3 can go directly underneath. You might not need to do this. You might be able to just do it really easily without a problem. But if you don't, just lift that elbow up and you see that finger 3 pops underneath there. So I've gone B, C, B with my D sharp down, so I'm just going to try that. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I've gone through the whole process of learning how to do it with no playing first and then have. So bar 10. Okay, so now in bar 10 we have one of our big stretchers. So let's look at it. So we've got the bar 8, fret 7, finger 2 down on fret 8, D sharp, string 3. And here, now, no right hand again, and I'm not pressurising down, I'm not pushing hard, so this is just forming the shape without any pressure in my hand. I'm just going to practice going to fret 11 with finger 4. Okay, so that's D sharp. I bring finger 3 underneath for the C natural, and then open for the B under the bar A. So it's D sharp, C, B, D sharp, C, B. Again, no pressure. My hand is really loose. I'm not forming a proper bar A. So when I'm happy that, and I'm stretching, oh yeah, one other point is if you find that you can't stretch finger 4 there, just lift your elbow up again, and you'll probably find that your finger 4 automatically kind of shoots out. I don't know, it's not a counterbalance, it just happens on my hand, so it means that I can easily reach that fret 11. So if I want to do that, I can actually reach probably, but there you go. I'm just going to lift my elbow out and my finger 4 stretches. So I've gone through my practice routine, I've learnt my frets, I've learnt how to read the music, and now I've done no right hand, no pressure, and now I'm going to give it a go by playing, here we go, the D sharp, C, B. I'll practice that again. There you go. So now I can play those 2 bars. All about doing preparation beforehand. The rest of the song is fairly straightforward in the A section. Here's my tip for when we get to this part, when we come all the way down and we play this. Okay, you'll see some books finger it differently, fingers 1, 2 and 3 on B, A and F sharp. What I do, I use 2, 3, 4 and put finger 1 on the D sharp, ready. So I've formed a full B7th chord, the bluesy sound, and therefore I don't have to move that hand at all. Yeah, I played an E there where I shouldn't have done. So let's try that again. So we've got the F, another F with the D sharp, G, F, yeah, and there you go. So it means that I'm keeping things simple on this hand. I'm not having to swap fingers like some people do where they go 2, 3, 4 and then jump to finger 1 for D sharp and finger 2 there. Makes it a bit awkward. So that's my tip for that. And when you come to the very end bits, form an E minor chord, finger 3 on that E and finger 2 on that B. Keep them down, root them down, and then you can just not move that hand. Finger 4 for that low G. Okay, so forming 2 chords and playing through means you don't have to move that hand. That's another tip just to help you. Right, so we'll move to the B section, which is in E major, and really here what we're doing is just using the same principles and techniques. So I'm just going to go straight through to the bars that causes problems, which is going to be bar A's, of course, and just look at identify anything else. So nice and simple in the B section here, the E major section, I'll go to the 3rd bar of that. And the first one, actually sometimes you see this written as an open A bass, but it's not, it shouldn't be, it should be a B bass. So we get these notes. Okay, so let's look at that. Bar A fret 2, so I've got a B, fret 5, F sharp on string 1, but I'm not going to use that because we're going to play strings 2, 3, 4. Okay, 2, 3, 4 this time, not 1, 2, 3. Most of us are familiar, of course, with F sharp, fret 4 on string 4. Okay, so I've got B, F sharp, I've got an A underneath the bass at fret 2 under the bar A, and I'm just going to stretch finger 4 out to play that E at fret 5. So shake your hand out if it's hurting and just gently put everything down, no pressure, not pushing hard, but make sure you've got a bar A at fret 2, finger 3 fret 4 for F sharp on the D string, finger 4 at fret 5 on the B string for the E. Happy with that? Okay, that's what's going to start us. We only get one of those, and straight away finger 4 comes down to F sharp, D sharp on fret 4 of string 2, and we play 2 of those. So I'm going to pretend I'm playing E, D sharp, D sharp. So I'm happy with that. Okay, I know where I'm doing, I've read the music, I understand what I've got to do, so I'm going to play that. E, D sharp, D sharp. The next bar, I've got D sharp again, then D natural. You'll sometimes see that as C double sharp, but it's just D natural, okay, fret 3, and then back up to D sharp. Okay, so I'm using fingers 4 and 2, so I'm going D sharp, D natural, D sharp. Happy with that, so now I'm going to play that. It's nice and simple, practicing with no right hand, forming the shape, not pressing down, just learning to move the fingers in the correct places. So then that takes us to bar 5. We've done our bar 8 fret 7 with our D sharp on fret 8. Okay, so now finger 3 is going to play C sharp. Remember your 4 sharps. 3 of those, so C sharp, C sharp, C sharp. Yeah, don't need to do any movement there, so I'm happy with those. Another one of those, C sharp, and then a stretch to D sharp. You can lift finger 3 if you want, there's no problem at all. Just lift finger 3 as you stretch to D sharp, and then you'll come back to C sharp. So here I'm going C sharp, stretch finger 4, D sharp, C sharp. Happy with that? So now I can try, that should have been finger 3. Okay, so it works. The next bar, we stack fingers 2, 3, 4 on frets 9 of the strings 1, 2, 3. So we've got high C sharp, G sharp underneath it on string 2, E on fret 9 of string 3. Put finger 1 on a B on the first string in preparation, so there's no bar A's here, so I'll just play this. So we've got C sharp, lift, B, B. Okay, so that's fine. We play that one more time in the next bar. And what I do here now, I don't play it as finger 4 back on C sharp and then a big stretch finger 4 D sharp. I cheat here. So this is a nice cheat. So we've got B, then I do a half bar A at fret 9. So I've got my C sharp, G sharp, E, then finger 3 for D sharp. Okay, so I'm putting a bar A in halfway through, but it's a slow song, so we can do that. Bar A, C sharp. Sorry, I should have played B first. C sharp, D sharp. Okay, so you saw what I did. Just rewind the video and you'll be able to do that. That means that we've got our bar A in place for bar 9, which is just lots of high E's. So we've got half bar A, so much simpler, so I won't kind of go through that. We've just got that bar, half bar A at fret 9, 3 strings, finger 4 on the E, one more of those, finger 3 D sharp, finger 2 for D natural. Okay, so perhaps the last of the hard bar A's coming up now. Again, it's written as a half bar A in most books, but I prefer to practice doing our bar A's, full bar A's, we need them. So this time now we've got bar A fret 5, we've got finger 2 on C sharp, fret 6 of string 3. And so if I just play that, that's just an A major chord. Low A on string 6. Finger 4 now, so no pressure on the left hand, just learn to stretch finger 4 to fret 9, C sharp. Okay, bring it back in, C sharp. So when you're happy that you can stretch there and touch that at the edge of the fret best you can, you just simply then put some pressure in your bar A. Okay, so there's my 3 C sharps. Oh yeah, I've got one more, sorry. So I've got another C sharp, B. So I could have done that practice routine of finger 4, D sharp, a C sharp, beg your pardon, B, yeah, so it's B on finger 3 and A. I hope I was saying actually C sharps all the way through there, stretching to C sharps. I hope I didn't say D sharp, but I definitely meant fret 9 C sharps. So we've got this rundown now. I'm happy with my notes. I'm playing C sharp, B, A. Sorry. Okay. And then the last of the bar A's, well, we've done a fret 2 bar A, so I've got B bass, finger 4 on G sharp, finger 3 D sharp, so they're fret 4s on strings 1 and 2. We've got one more of those in the next bar, A, so that's just that learning to do that stretch from, it's not really stretches, it's just moving finger 4 from G sharp to A. So we've got G sharp, lift for the F sharp, okay, and that's the barre work done. So each time I just did a practice soft hand, no right hand, soft left hand, stretching, got used to them, and then of course we just come to the end, which is similar. We've just got an E major chord now, so we've got finger 1 on G sharp, hold it all the way down, big stretch, just practice that little stretch, get low G sharp, and there you go. That should work for you. So it's not a note for note tuition video, as I mentioned. It's about learning 3 things. 1, fretboard recognition, learning those fret names without playing and saying them, learning the identification of the notes by reading the music, using the sheets that I've probably given you in the lessons, and then practicing your barres, no right hand and soft left hand, learning to stretch, and then when you're happy with that, then you put all 3 elements together and then you can play those points. So good luck with Romanza.